sweet tiaras in the native country, where friendly shines the sun above. Life is the breeze that sweeps the meadows, tranquil is death, most tender love. Warm kisses on the lips are playing, as we awake to mother's face. The arms are seeking to embrace her, the eyes are smiling as they gaze. How sweet to die for the native country, where friendly shines the sun above. Death is the breeze for him who has no country, no mother, and no love.
Maria Clara is the mestiza heroine in Noli Me Tangere, a novel written by Jose Rizal. Her name and character has since become a byword in the Filipino culture for the traditional and ideal female.
Traditional? Feminine ideal? In what way?
Koan, di ba sa novels ni Rizal kay nag-reflect sa different facets of Philippines during Spanish era? I think Maria Clara is a representation sa ideal Filipina at that time. Kind, loyal, submissive, basically, dalagang Filipina.
Audi ay? But isn't that due to the influence of the Spanish? Basically, isn't she a stereotype on how and what an ideal woman should act back in the day? If you think of it that way, isn't her character a bad example?
In a way, yes and no. Rizal described her to be the epitome of virtue manigod. She's demure and self-effacing, and endowed with beauty, grace, and charm. And she was promoted by Rizal as the ideal image. But I don't think that she's a bad example man, because wala man siya'y dautan na gibuhat. In fact, she was religious, submissive, and obedient.
Which makes her a bad character, if you ask me, Pod. I mean, she was an ideal image based on the influence of the Spanish, in which they're saying na women should be prim and proper, and that's basically stereotyping. If you think about it, Pod, many Filipina heroes are not like Maria Clara, like the women who fought in the revolution. I think layo na kayo kag naabtan. Yes, she was pure and modest character, but I don't agree with your implication that she was weak woman. In fact, she was a kind and strong character. If you remember na makabantay siyang tao na ignore sa lain, she was the only person who noticed in Elias na fishing excursion and offered him biscuit.
Yes, Maria Clara is a strong character with a heart that is willing to help others.
But at the same time, she is also too dependent and attached kang Ibarra. Remember na nagkasakit siya sa second half sa Noli because of her sadness with their separation. Then, she was blackmailed and coerced. Her character as a whole revolves on Ibarra June.
Yes, and when Ibarra died, she even said nga, when he was alive, I could degrade myself. There was left the comfort of knowing he lived and perhaps would think of me. Now that he is dead, the convent for me or the grave. She's putting Ibarra on a pedestal.
It's true, Maria Clara is also seen as a role model for Filipinas who are surviving after the abuse and violence they experienced from men. Remember, it was also implied she was raped by Padre Salvi, a Spanish priest, while she was in the convent. But it is archaic to keep insisting that Maria Clara is the embodiment of purity and femininity when she and every Filipina are more than that.
Society needs to stop the notion that Filipinas should be make and be second-class citizens next to men. Pre-colonial Philippines saw women leaders, warriors, and healers. They were revered by their tribesmen. But when the Spaniards arrived, they imposed that all women should be submissive to their husbands and men in general. This is not something we should be upholding in 2019.
You are right to some degree. Instead of telling girls and women to be modest, teach them to empower themselves, embrace their sexuality, and not feel pressure to conform to the Dalagang Filipina notion of purity. We should all have the choice to pick how we present ourselves and still be respected regardless of how we act or what we wear.
Maria Clara was a strong Filipina character because how she is endured despite being portrayed as prim and delicate. It is something many women could live by today, not the archaic stereotype of femininity imposed in us.
Anyway, I guess I was too biased against her pod since na-trigger ako. But I do agree na women, whether dalagang Filipina like Maria Clara or not, kaya dapat free to have a choice without being judged, but at the same time, making sure na dili ra pud sobraan. Cause too much freedom is not good pud.
Essentially, modern Maria Clara shows that while the passive and submissive Maria Clara is gone, Filipinas are still guided by faith and strive to be good mothers and daughters, but have every propensity to become an entrepreneur, politician, engineer, or an athlete. Fueled by an independent mind, ideas, creativity, and passion, Grace stands victorious and on top of the world with success, love, and loyalty having found their way to her. But blessed as she is now, this was not the case some 4 decades ago when she was abandoned by her birth mother inside the Jaro Metropolitan Cathedral in Iloilo. Grace bloomed under her parents' love and light. She was very much a homebody and wasn't very sociable. The only time she would go out was to visit her friends or pay a visit to Santa Ana and San Lazaro. Over the years, she has spent her career standing for the rights of Filipino people, making sure everyone, especially children, has access to quality education and proper nutrition is her major legislative priority. That's why one of the first bills she filed in the Senate was the free lunch program, which seeks to provide free lunch to malnourished children in all public schools nationwide. Filipinos have always believed in the powerful effects of a name, and a name, especially in the context of Philippines politics, can either bring you to new heights or it can dangerously pull you under, especially if the burden of one's parental legacy becomes too much.